thank the gentleman from Oxford for his fine speech. And on behalf of Tel Aviv.
I'm very sorry to interrupt the Oxford Union, but we have some points here on the side of Tel Aviv. But before that, I really want to thank all of you for participating in the European Debating Championship. It really is heartwarming to see how people from across Europe can unify around something. And Jews and Muslims and Catholics can all agree that we need to oppose and get rid of the shackles of Oxford oppression. Shakespeare told us that this policy favors English speakers. Now, well, we would say that this is an insanely arrogant point, since some people would actually want to, I don't know, immigrate to France, or perhaps rather learn Chinese. But more to the point, we say that this is an excellent point of free market. If you are well suited to come to England and be well adapted in there, you will come to England. If you know French, you will go to France. This is very effective. This is efficacy. This is not discrimination. Okay, on to the next point of rebuttal. We were told by the first opposition that a consensus is required in order to allow someone else into the social contract. They told us, only if every member of the current social contract agree, we can add someone else. This is nonsense! Ladies and gentlemen, if what they told us is true, they are essentially arguing against against all of immigration everywhere. Because last time I checked, 10% of the French people voted against immigration laws and voted for harsher and stricter immigration laws, and nonetheless the French are still accepting people. So which one is it, ladies and gentlemen? Do we need a consensus or do we not? We say that this is a ridiculous point. Every point of contention in society is decided by a majority and does not require consensus. So as long as we manage to persuade 51% of the people in the audience, this policy moves. No thank you. Now, on to the point of speedy ghettos that will crop up. We say, first and foremost, there is absolutely no problem with cultural ghettos. The only problem that we have is with disobedience to the law. So all they're telling us, essentially, is that we need effective law enforcement, and that we need a social contract that is effective at stopping people from exploiting it through welfare or any such things. Or they have not given us a tangible reason they did not explain to us why ghettos are necessarily bad. And one last point of rebuttal to practical points that they've brought up is that they expect everyone to cram in and be very, very miserable. And again, the first point of free market stands, because if everyone who comes to this country becomes miserable, people will stop coming to that country. And as long as we have a social contract, that ensures that immigrants do not harm others, there's absolutely no problem. They'll come as long as it improves their status, and they'll stop coming when they have somewhere else better to go. Okay. On to our positives. First, we explain why any addition is a welcome addition to a country if the social contract if the laws are built in a proper manner and are smartly crafted. And second, we explain to you what are the advantages, the unique advantages of ethno-diversity, why having people from various backgrounds actually helps tremendously to the state itself and benefits everyone. So, why any addition is a welcome addition? Well, this is a fundamental point, because first Op gave us only practical points against immigrants. They only told us that they will somehow harm other members of society, I don't know, whether by exploiting welfare, whether be it by engaging in criminal practices. And what we say to this is that this is not a case against immigration, but again, a case against bad governmental policies. Because, for example, you could say that you only provide healthcare to someone who is either employed or who has a family who is employed, or that you will only provide any other benefits that the state gives to citizens if they meet certain criteria which are blind to the question of where you were born, but only criteria that only take into account how much you contribute or how much your family contributes to the state. This, essentially what we say here is that they did not at all make a case for discrimination on the background of, on geographic background, on geographic basis. Damn it, being yourself isn't fun. Good.
Your immigration policy of let's just throw more police at the ghetto didn't work so well with the racial riots of Muslim immigrants in France.
Okay, first and foremost, we simply reject that point on a factual basis. We say that the French can make significant progress with regards to the Muslim immigrants. We say that the Muslim immigrants contribute tremendously to their society because the French actually want someone to fill up the gas tanks at the gas station, and they actually want these cheap labor, and that's why they have a large extent of immigration. It is merely hypocrisy and radical nationalism that causes the hatred towards Muslims, and the proper policy, a policy that embraces them rather than forces them not to wear their traditional headwear, would actually promote integration by the Muslim minority in France. Well, lastly, on this point of why any addition is a condition, we say something fundamental. The criterion for entering the social contract should not be whether you were born in the country or not, but whether you agree to the contract or not. And we say that an immigrant actively agrees with the contract and is thus much better suited to live in our state than someone who just passively had to join this contract without actually agreeing to it. So, that's that. On to the next point. The advantages of ethnic diversity. We say that there is a unique advantage to diversity of population in this society. First, a trivial point like genetic diversity is very good. We said that Ashkenazi Jews have a huge problem with interbreeding because they have more diseases, and when interbreeding in Israel actually helped alleviate these problems. But analogically, and much more importantly, we say that cultural diversity is of paramount importance. We say that the Singapore are hardworking, that the Israelis are very good at improvising, that the British are very good at babbling and making food. No, they're not. They actually need the Indians to bring decent food into London. Fertilization going on, like Indian food and British babbling. This is a good news. We say that once you have cultural diversity, the state itself becomes stronger. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and actually everyone benefits. So, ladies and gentlemen, on these grounds, we are proud to propose.